Marcus is 31 years old. He's a project manager at a mid-sized logistics company in Columbus, Ohio. He makes $67,000 a year, has $4,200 in savings, and last November he got a $3,000 raise that he was genuinely proud of. He called me 2 weeks later, confused. Not because the money was gone, because it never felt like it arrived. He asked me something I've been turning over ever since. He said, "Where does it go? I earn more every year and I feel exactly the same." Here's the thing. Marcus isn't bad with money. He's not buying $8 cocktails every weekend. He's paying for Spotify, Adobe, Salesforce through work, Netflix, a SaaS tool for his side hustle, his apartment, his car, and 12 other services he doesn't think about because they come out automatically. He's not spending. He's subscribing. And there's a massive difference between those two words that almost nobody stops to examine. That distinction is what this entire video is about. Let me be honest with you. I spent most of my late 20s thinking the same way Marcus does. I earned more, I upgraded slightly, and the number in my account stayed roughly the same. I remember sitting at my kitchen table in 2016, staring at a bank statement, genuinely baffled. I made $71,000 that year. My account had $6,100 in it. I had essentially no ownership of anything that would grow while I slept. Every dollar I earned left immediately. Most of it going to people who owned things, while I owned nothing. That was the moment I started asking a different question. Not, how do I earn more, but who's on the other side of every payment I make? Think about that for a second. Every subscription you pay, every automatic charge on your card is someone else's passive income. You are the revenue line on a stranger's income statement. They don't know your name. They don't think about you. They're not losing sleep over your financial situation. They built or bought a thing, and now your paycheck flows through it on its way somewhere else. That's the reframe. You don't have expenses. You have a portfolio of payments going to other owners. Now here's where AI changes everything. And I mean that literally. Okay? So here's where it gets interesting. Between 2012 and 2023, the number of software subscriptions the average American household paid for went from roughly 3 to over 14. That's not a coincidence. That's a business model that discovered human psychology. Set it up, make it automatic, keep the price just below the threshold where someone cancels, and collect forever. The subscription economy crossed $650 billion in annual revenue in 2023. Most of that money flows to a relatively small number of owners. AI is about to multiply this by a factor that's hard to wrap your head around. Here's why. Right now, if a company wants to automate a task, they need engineers. They need infrastructure. There's a real cost and a real delay. That friction is the only thing that's been slowing down the substitution of human labor with software. AI is dissolving that friction in real time. A friend of mine, let's call her Rachel, she's 38, she's a copywriter in Seattle, watched 3 of her 5 biggest clients cut their content budgets by 40% between January and September of last year, not because business was bad, because they found a tool that did 70% of her work in 3 seconds for $20 a month. Rachel is talented. Rachel is experienced. Rachel was also, in this transaction, the expensive middle option. And now she's competing with infrastructure. That's the brutal economic logic of what's happening. AI doesn't hate Rachel. It doesn't think about Rachel at all. It just does the work cheaper. And the owner of that AI tool, not Rachel, not the client, the owner, collects the spread, right? The question isn't whether your industry gets touched by this. It's whether you're positioned to collect when it does. Now, what most people don't realize is that the AI transition isn't primarily a labor story. The media is obsessed with jobs. Which jobs will survive, which will disappear, whether your role is safe. And look, that matters. But it's the wrong level of the problem. The real story is ownership transfer. Capital is moving toward whoever owns the tools, and the tools are becoming capable of doing more and more of the work that used to require a person. I think about it this way. Imagine you owned a textile mill in 1900 and you paid 200 workers to weave fabric by hand. Then the power loom existed. Now imagine you could keep the mill, fire the workers, and the loom runs itself. The output is the same. The revenue is the same. But now you don't share it. That's what software has been doing for 30 years in every industry. AI just widened the aperture dramatically. The people who understood that dynamic early, between 2010 and 2020, had access to one of the largest wealth creation events in human history. The S&P 500 technology sector returned over 650% in that decade. Not because of magic, because ownership of the tools that replaced human effort was suddenly available to anyone with a brokerage account and a contrarian enough disposition to buy when everyone was nervous. I didn't catch all of it. I caught maybe a third of it, and it changed my life. The third I missed still stings. Here's the framework I use now, and I want you to actually apply this tonight. Look at the last 30 days of your bank or credit card statement. Every single recurring charge, I want you to find the company behind it, not the app, the actual equity. Is it publicly traded? Does someone own it who isn't you? Put those tickers in a list. That list is your map. Those are the entities you're currently funding with your labor. The question, and I mean this as a genuine question, not a rhetorical one, is whether you're on both sides of any of those transactions. When you pay Netflix $15.49 a month, are you also a Netflix shareholder? When your company pays for Salesforce, do you own any Salesforce? When you subscribe to an AI writing tool, are you also positioned to collect when that tool's user base grows? This isn't about stock picking. I'm not telling you which names to buy. I'm asking you to notice the architecture of your financial life. Because right now, for most people who earn a wage, the architecture looks like a funnel. Money comes in from one employer and flows out to dozens of owners. And the AI economy is adding more owners and more funnels, faster than most people are adapting. Now, if you're someone who earns a steady paycheck, pays your bills on time, feels reasonably responsible with money, and yet somehow can't figure out why the gap between you and financial freedom feels like it's not closing, this is specifically for you. The problem is not your discipline. It's not your intelligence. It's that the system you're participating in is structurally designed to route your output to people who own things while you remain on the earning side of the ledger. The AI transition is making that system faster and more efficient, which means the urgency of switching sides is higher than it has ever been in my lifetime. Here's the single most important thing I want you to take from this. Every payment you make is an audition to become an owner. The question is whether you act on it. Tonight, before you close this app, pull up your last bank statement. Find one recurring payment to a company that has publicly traded equity. Open a brokerage account if you don't have one. Set up a recurring purchase of even $25 a month into that position. Not because $25 changes everything immediately, because the habit of becoming an owner, of sitting on both sides of the transaction, is the only way out of the funnel. Marcus is still figuring this out. So am I, honestly. But the direction is clear. Stop being just the revenue line. Start being the shareholder, too.